You know that feeling when something is offered to you for free, and a voice in the back of your head screams, "Trap." You've been taught to ignore that voice, to call it cynicism. But what if it's the only part of you that still remembers the rules of the real world? The truth is, you are never chosen by luck. You are selected for a purpose. And the most terrifying prisons aren't built with bars and locks. They are built with luxury, silence, and a set of instructions you must follow to survive the night. By the end of this story, you will understand that you are always playing a game. You just haven't been given the rules yet. It arrives on a Tuesday, an email, slick and professional, shimmering with embossed logos and promises of luxury. "Congratulations, Sarah," it declares, the exclamation point a little too eager. "You've won an exclusive all-expenses-paid weekend getaway, a state-of-the-art retreat in a place you've never heard of, Millfield, Vermont." You read it twice, 3 times. The name feels wrong in your mouth, a collection of sounds that don't belong together. You check your sent mail, your browser history, racking your brain. There's nothing. No contest entry, no sweepstakes form, no forgotten click on a pop-up ad. I am certain you think, "I never signed up for this." The assumption should be that it's a scam, a phishing attempt, a clever little trick. But the details, they're too specific. The dates are open, waiting for your selection. The pictures show a hyper-modern glass house swallowed by an ancient emerald forest. It feels less like a prize and more like a summons. A destiny you didn't choose is calling. But that's only the surface. The silence in your life has been deafening lately. A dull ache of routine, a quiet hum of dissatisfaction. So, you make a choice. It's a selection born not of logic, but of a desperate need for something to happen. You click confirm. You pack your bags. The drive north is a slow descent into isolation. The highways shrink into country roads, the concrete giving way to dirt and gravel. The quaint little towns disappear in your rearview mirror, one by one, until there's nothing but trees. Endless towering pines and skeletal birches that press in on the road, their branches knitting together overhead, swallowing the afternoon sun. It's beautiful, in a suffocating sort of way. You tell yourself this is the escape you wanted, the quiet, the peace. But the feeling that settles in your stomach isn't peace. It's a low, vibrating tension, the kind you feel before a storm breaks. Your inner world is screaming, but you're not listening yet. Here's what changes everything. Your phone is the first to go. The signal bars flicker, hesitate, and then vanish completely. No service. The 2 words float at the top of the screen like an epitaph. You're officially disconnected, a ghost to the outside world. The car's GPS sputters next, the soothing digital voice replaced by a static-laced silence as the map dissolves into a gray, featureless void. You're navigating by instinct now, following a set of printed-out directions that feel like pages from a forgotten fairy tale. Turn left at the fallen oak. Continue past the hanging moss. The forest grows denser, darker. It's a physical presence. You can feel its immense ancient consciousness watching you, weighing you. The air grows cold. Every snapped twig, every rustle of leaves in the oppressive quiet feels like a word spoken in a language you were never meant to understand. The operant power here isn't yours. It belongs to the woods. Now go deeper. The house appears suddenly, a jarring slash of black timber and cold glass against the organic chaos of the forest. It doesn't belong here. It's too sharp, too clean, an open wound in the landscape. It watches you approach through its massive, unblinking windows. You park on the gravel driveway, and when you cut the engine, the silence that rushes in is absolute. It's not an absence of sound, it's a sound in itself, a heavy, ringing void that pushes against your eardrums. For a long moment, you just sit there, your hand on the door handle, a single thought circling in your mind. Turn back. Leave now. You already are where you shouldn't be. The thought is so clear, so loud. It feels like it came from outside of you. But the house, it seems to pull you in. A strange magnetic curiosity that overrides the primal scream of your survival instincts. The feeling is the key. You get out of the car, The air smells of damp earth and something else. Something metallic and sweet like old blood and pine needles. You walk towards the front door, each step a conscious, deliberate act of defiance against the fear coiling in your gut. There is no welcome mat, just a cold, slate porch and a single heavy door of dark wood. You look back at the impenetrable wall of trees that surrounds you, that has completely swallowed the road you came in on. There's no way out now except through. You take a breath, raise your hand and knock. The sound is swallowed by the silence, but you know it was heard. You know something inside was waiting. The feeling isn't just a warning anymore, it's a promise. A promise of what's to come now that you've made your choice and entered this new state. The door swings open before your knuckles even brush the wood, and there she is. Linda. Her smile is a perfect white crescent in a perfectly composed face. She's pristine, her clothes immaculate, not a single hair out of place. An image of flawless hospitality. But as she ushers you inside, you feel a profound sense of wrongness. Her eyes, a pale washed-out blue, don't quite meet yours. They seem to look through you, at a point somewhere over your shoulder. Her movements are too smooth, too deliberate, like a dancer executing a memorized routine. "Welcome, Sarah. We're so thrilled to have you," she chirps, the words bright and hollow. The feeling is the key, and the feeling she gives you isn't welcome. It's a cold, sterile appraisal. You are not a guest, you are an acquisition. You have stepped into a new state, and she is merely the gatekeeper. But that's only the surface. The tour is a blur. Linda glides through the cavernous, minimalist rooms, her voice a monotonous drone pointing out features that feel utterly alien in this wilderness setting. This is the chef's kitchen, the media room, the master suite with a panoramic view of the woods. The house is a sterile labyrinth of glass and steel, and the massive windows do not offer a view so much as they erase the boundary between inside and out. The forest isn't a backdrop, it's a guest at the table, a silent, brooding observer in every room. Linda's pace is hurried, insistent. She keeps you moving, her hand hovering just above your back, guiding your selection of where to look, what to notice. You get the distinct impression that you are not being shown the house, but are being led through a very specific pre-approved path. Her operant power is subtle, a gentle pressure that keeps you from straying. Here's what changes everything. In the center of the vast living space, you see it. It's the first thing in this entire place that feels real, that feels like it has a soul. On a low glass table surrounded by stark white furniture sits a book. It's ancient, bound in dark cracking leather, the kind of object that should smell of dust and time. It's thick, heavy, its presence a stark contradiction to the soulless modernity of the house. It doesn't belong. Its existence here is a question, a mystery that immediately snags your consciousness. You feel a pull towards it, a deep, resonant hum of curiosity that drowns out Linda's cheerful monologue. Your inner world, which has been screaming in quiet panic, finally has something to focus on. This object has a history, it has a story, and you have a sudden, desperate need to know what it is. Now go deeper. You stop, breaking the flow of her perfectly choreographed tour. "What's that book?" you ask, your voice sounding loud in the echoing room. Linda's smile freezes. For a fraction of a second, the mask slips, and you see something else in her eyes. Something flat and cold. A flicker of annoyance? Or was it fear? "Oh, that old thing," she says, waving a dismissive hand, the gesture too broad, too theatrical. "It's nothing. Just some house information, the Wi-Fi code, emergency numbers, that kind of thing. You won't need to bother with it." The lie is so blatant it's almost insulting. Her words are a command, an attempt to shape your reality, to force an assumption of irrelevance onto the one object that feels important. She wants you to believe it's nothing, which only confirms that it is, in fact, everything. She doesn't wait for a reply. The tour is suddenly over. Linda is at the door, her keys already in her hand. "Well, I must be going. Do make yourself at home. The house is all yours until Sunday." Her final smile is stretched thin, a desperate imitation of warmth. Then she's gone, the heavy door clicking shut behind her with an unnerving finality. You are left standing in the ringing silence of the house, the presence of the forest pressing in through the glass walls. You are completely, utterly alone, but your gaze is fixed on the coffee table, on the dark, silent promise of the leather-bound book. You already are a prisoner of your own curiosity. You walk towards it. For a long time, you just stare at it. The book sits on the glass table, a dark, silent weight in the center of the room. Linda's warning, her transparent lie, echoes in your mind. To open it feels like a violation, a deliberate step across a line you were told not to cross. But your own consciousness is screaming at you, a primal need to know that overrides the manufactured fear. You sit, the cool leather of the couch a shock against your skin, and pull the heavy volume into your lap. The cover is unmarked, the leather worn smooth by countless hands. It doesn't feel like a manual. It feels like a tombstone. You take a breath, a silent assumption of courage you don't feel, and open it to the first page. The handwriting is a cheerful, looping cursive. "A perfect escape," writes a couple from Boston 5 years ago. "The peace and quiet were just what we needed." It's a lie. You know it's a lie. The perfect, placid surface of a very deep, very dark lake. But that's only the surface. You turn the pages, moving forward in time. The next few entries are variations on the same theme. Praise for the architecture, the serenity, the escape from modern life. But then, a subtle shift begins. A guest from 3 years back mentions the quiet is almost too quiet, you know. It feels heavy. A year later, a man writes about his wife having terrible nightmares of a tall, skeletal man with branches growing from his head. He laughs it off as a product of her overactive imagination. Little fissures in the dam of normalcy. Each entry is a snapshot of a consciousness struggling against something it can't define. They are all making the same selection: to ignore the deep, resonant wrongness, to rationalize the fear, to pretend the state they've entered is a peaceful one. But the truth is leaking out, staining the edges of their pretty words. Here's what changes everything. And then it breaks. The polite facade shatters into a million pieces. You turn a page and are met with a frantic, jagged scrawl, the ink gouged into the paper. "They're lying. She's not who she says she is. Don't trust anything." The entries that follow are no longer signed with names, just desperate initials. The dates are closer, more recent. The cheerful vacationers are gone, replaced by prisoners leaving their final testaments. The silence isn't empty. It listens, one reads. "This house is a trap for your mind. It feeds on your fear," says another. Your inner world begins to reel, connecting the dots of your own unease with the explicit terror on these pages. You already are what they were, the new arrival, the next subject. The book is no longer a collection of memories. It's a chorus of ghosts, all screaming a warning. Now go deeper. Your heart is a frantic drum against your ribs. Your breath is shallow. You can't stop turning the pages. The warnings become more specific, more terrifyingly practical. They are no longer just outpourings of fear. They are advice. If you hear dripping upstairs, find it. You have until the count of 13. Don't fail. Don't ignore the sounds outside. They're a test. Your imagination is the weapon they use against you. Never eat the food left on the porch. Look closer. And then, scrawled in a shaky hand near the bottom of a page, a sentence that makes you feel cold to your very bones. Some of us made it out. You feel a momentary, desperate surge of hope until you read the rest of the sentence. But we didn't. Leave alone. A part of this place hooks into you and never lets go. The operant power here isn't contained by the property line. You flip towards the end of the book, your fingers clumsy with dread. The last written entry is dated just 1 week ago. The handwriting is a faint, skeletal scrawl, as if the writer barely had the strength to hold the pen. Last night. Have to stay awake. It's my turn to watch the house. Feeling is the key. The feeling of being hunted. It's how they find you. I am the watcher and the watched. I am the bait. I have to hold this state until sunrise. After that, nothing. Just a series of stark, white, empty pages. Waiting. You slam the book shut, the sound a small explosion in the crushing silence. This isn't a guest book, it's a playbook. And you've just realized with a wave of sickening certainty that the game has already begun. Your mind is a frantic storm of panic and disbelief. The urge to run, to get in your car and drive until the sun comes up is a physical force. But where would you go? The forest has swallowed the road. The phone has no signal. The house is an island, and you are marooned. Some deeper part of your consciousness, a cold, sharp survival instinct you didn't know you possessed, takes over. The book, the last entry. I have to watch. It's a clue. You pick up the heavy volume again, your hands shaking. You don't read the desperate warnings this time. Instead, you let your intuition guide you to the very back. Past the last empty page, your fingers brush against something stiff. 2 pages, stuck together at the edges with a faded waxy substance. It's deliberate, hidden. With a ragged nail, you pry them apart, revealing a hidden pocket. Tucked inside is a single sheet of paper, folded into a neat square, brittle with age. But that's only the surface. You carefully unfold it. The paper is yellow and thin, almost translucent. It's covered in a neat, precise typescript, stark and emotionless. It feels alien compared to the passionate, terrified handwriting in the rest of the book. At the top of the page, a simple, chilling title, House Guidelines. The name is a mockery. A piece of corporate jargon copy-pasted onto a page of pure ritualistic horror. It's Linda's voice, the email's tone, the entire sterile, hollow lie of this place condensed into 2 words. This isn't a list of suggestions. This is the code. The fundamental law of this pocket of reality. Your assumption that you had any control, any agency was a fantasy. The operant power of this place is written here, in black and white, and you have no choice but to obey. You have selected this path, and this is the map. Here's what changes everything. Your eyes scan the list, and with each rule, a new layer of dread encases your heart. They are bizarrely, terrifyingly specific. 1. The main door must be locked by 9:13 p.m. Do not open it for any reason until sunrise. The voices you hear will not be human. 2. If a light from a lantern appears on the property, retreat to the smallest room in the house and cover your ears. Do not look upon its bearer. 3. Should a dripping sound begin, you have a count of 13 to find its source and make it stop. After 13, the water is not the only thing that will be flowing. 4. Each morning, a provision of food will be left on the porch. Under no circumstances are you to consume it. Look at it closely, and you will understand why. This isn't random madness. This is a system, a machine with interlocking parts, and you are the gear that is about to be ground down. Now go deeper. The list continues, a descent into a surreal nightmare. 5. You may see a young girl near the pond. She may speak to you. You can listen, but do not answer her questions, and do not follow her if she beckons. 6. After dark, do not gaze into the windows for more than a few seconds. The reflection you see may not be your own, and it does not like to be stared at. 7. There is a being in the woods the others call the Antler Man. He is drawn to the energy of disbelief. The moment you decide he is not real, he is already behind you. That last one sends a jolt through you, a bolt of pure terror. The creature from the guest book. It's real. Your inner world of skepticism has been shattered, leaving you raw and exposed. You believe now, you have to. Believing is the only way to survive. At the bottom of the page, there is one final rule. The one that connects everything. The one that explains the last desperate entry in the book. 8. On the final night of your stay, the house must have a watcher. From the moment of sunset to the first light of dawn, one occupant must remain awake, their consciousness acting as an anchor. The house is a lure, and you are the bait. If the watcher sleeps, the anchor is severed, and what waits in the woods will come inside to claim its prize. You drop the paper as if it has burned you. The script has been passed on. The role has been cast. I am the watcher now. The thought isn't yours, but it fills your mind completely. The game has rules, and you are now a player. You don't sleep. You can't. Sleep is a luxury this place will not afford. You spend the long, dark hours huddled in a chair, every creak of the house a new threat, every shadow a monster in waiting. When the sun finally rises, it brings no relief, only a gray, washed-out light that makes the world look like a faded photograph. The dread of the night is replaced by the anxiety of the day. You force your aching body to move, compelled by the memory of the rules. Rule number 4. The food. Hesitantly, you approach the front door and look out. There, on the porch, sits a perfect wicker basket. Inside, a picturesque breakfast. Glistening berries, a golden brown croissant, a small glass bottle of orange juice. It's an image of pure, comforting normalcy, an assumption of safety, and you know with absolute certainty that it's the most dangerous thing you've seen yet. But that's only the surface. The rules said to look closer. Your stomach growls, in protest, but you obey. You stare at the basket, focusing your entire consciousness on it, trying to see past the illusion. For a long moment, nothing happens. It looks, smells, and feels real. Then, a subtle shimmer begins at the edge of the croissant. The flaky layers begin to sweat a greasy black film. The vibrant red of a strawberry dulls, collapsing in on itself like rotten fruit in fast motion. The entire basket of beautiful food sags, melts, and transforms before your eyes into a single cohesive pile of pulsating gray sludge. A thick, sweet stench of decay hits you, and you recoil, a cry catching in your throat. The operant power of this place is not just in your mind. It is physical. It is real. And it tried to poison you with a beautiful lie. Here's what changes. Everything. You have to get out of the house. The smell of the sludge, even from inside, is suffocating. You slip out a back door and walk, aimlessly at first, needing to feel solid ground under your feet. Your path leads you to a small, still pond at the edge of the property, its water as black and reflective as obsidian. And that's where you see her, a little girl in a simple white dress, her back to you. Rule number 5, you may see a young girl near the pond. She turns, as if sensing your presence. Her face is pale and serious, her eyes holding a deep, ancient sadness. "You're the new watcher," she says. Her voice isn't a child's voice. It's flat, weary, ancient. You stopped the drip, and you didn't eat the food. You're clever. She is a part of the system, a gear in the machine, and her purpose is to gauge your progress. Now go deeper. You stand frozen, the words of the rule a mantra in your mind. Do not answer her questions. Do not follow her. You remain silent. She gives a small sad nod as if she expected this. "It's better this way," she whispers, her gaze drifting towards the dark wall of trees behind you. He doesn't like the clever ones. He thinks the rules are a way of cheating his game. A cold dread trickles down your spine. You haven't seen the one who owns these woods yet, have you? The tall one? The one with the crown of dead branches? The Antler Man. The name from the guest book and the rules is now spoken, given weight, given form. The girl turns back to the pond. "Your belief is your only shield," she says, her voice fading. "But it is also the light that shows him where you are." And just like that, the conversation is over. She is once again just a girl by a pond, trapped in her own state, her own endless loop. As dusk begins to settle, her warning consumes you. Your belief is the light that shows him where you are. The house no longer feels like any kind of shelter. It's a beacon, and you are the flame. You're staring out one of the massive windows, watching the shadows lengthen when you see it. A flicker of impossible motion at the edge of the woods. Something steps out from behind a massive oak. It is impossibly tall and painfully thin. A creature of stretched bone and tightened sinew wrapped in what looks like peeling bark. And from its head sprouts a chaotic crown of sharp black antlers. It's him. He turns his head slowly, and even from this distance, you feel his gaze lock onto you. There is no face, no eyes, only an empty, horrifying void. "I am seen," the thought screams through your mind. "I am hunted." Your survival is no longer a game of following rules. It's a confrontation, and it has just begun. This is the final night, the moment everything has been leading to. Rule number 8. The house must have a watcher. I am the watcher. As the last vestiges of sunlight are devoured by the horizon, a new kind of darkness falls. It's not just an absence of light. It's a presence, a heavy predatory stillness that presses in on the glass walls of the house. You have chosen your post, a single chair in the middle of the great room, the guest book, the book of laws, open on your lap. From here, you can see everything: the porch, the woods, the stairs. Your consciousness is the only thing holding this place together, the anchor in a sea of encroaching madness. You focus on a single, unwavering thought, an I am statement that becomes your entire reality. I am awake. I am aware. I am the watcher. But that's only the surface. The clock on your phone reads 9:13 p.m., and the world explodes into a symphony of calculated horror. It's not one thing this time. It's everything, all at once. The woman with the lantern materializes on the porch, her light a malevolent, sweeping beam that probes the interior of the house. Simultaneously, the dripping begins upstairs. Not a slow, steady rhythm, but a frantic, chaotic cascade of sound. The laughter of the little girl from the pond echoes from the kitchen, sharp and mocking. Vicious scratching erupts against the glass, a sound of claws trying to find purchase. And through the chaos, you see him, the Antler Man. He stands at the edge of the clearing, perfectly still, his horned silhouette a tear in the fabric of the night. He is not attacking, he is conducting. This is his orchestra, and its sole purpose is to shatter your state, to break your focus. Here's what changes everything. You cling to the rules. They are the only solid things in a world that is dissolving into nightmare. You force your eyes away from the woman on the porch. You let the sound of the dripping wash over you, acknowledging it without giving in to the urge to stop it. Leaving your post is the one thing you cannot do. Your inner world becomes a fortress. The laughter, the scratching, the groaning of the house itself. It all becomes a distant storm. Your selection is to observe, not to react. Hours pass like decades. The house begins to come apart around you. The windows crack and splinter. A vase slides off a table and shatters. The temperature plummets until your breath fogs in the air. The assault is total, a relentless attack on your senses, your sanity, your soul. But you hold on, a tiny defiant flicker of consciousness in an overwhelming darkness. Now go deeper. Just when you think you can't take another second, you see it. A faint pearlescent gray staining the eastern sky. Dawn. The entities seem to sense it too, and their assault redoubles in a final, desperate frenzy. The front door splinters. The Antler Man takes one slow, deliberate step forward, then another, his impossible form detaching from the tree line. He is coming for you. The remaining windows burst inward, and a gale of freezing, foul-smelling air rips through the house. He is on the porch now, his empty gaze fixed on you. But you don't look at him. You look at the sky, at that fragile, beautiful sliver of light. The first true ray of sun crests the horizon and strikes the house. And everything stops. The Antler Man dissolves into a wisp of black smoke. The lantern dies. The sounds vanish. Healed by the light, the operant power of the night is broken. You are alive. You survived. Months later, you are home. The house in Vermont feels like a half-remembered nightmare, a story that happened to someone else. You are safe. That is the assumption you have chosen to live in. One night, you're aimlessly browsing the internet, and you stumble upon a travel blog. There's a featured review for a secluded Vermont getaway. Your blood turns to ice. The review is glowing, poetic, praising the life-altering, transformative experience. It's signed with your name. As you stare, paralyzed, a notification dings on your screen, an email. The subject line is a cheerful electric blue. Congratulations, you've been selected as the grand prize winner of our Vermont retreat. You see the slick logos, the pictures of the glass house. It's starting. Again, you didn't escape, you didn't win. You just finished your turn. You are not the survivor. You already are the bait for the next cycle. The escape was never the point. The point was to teach her the rules, so she could write a more convincing invitation for the next guest. You don't break the cycle, you become a part of its engine. So, what game are you currently playing thinking you are the one winning? That lucky streak, that new opportunity. Are you sure you're the player and not just the prize? If you felt a flicker of recognition in this story, it's because a part of you is already on the board. Subscribe now, and in the next video, we'll discuss what happens when you finally decide to break the rules.